There is a certain kind of person you have seen 100 times without ever really looking at them. They arrive at the same hour. They put their bag in the same corner. They know which machine will be free at this time of day and which one never is. They do not look excited to be there. That is the part people miss. They do not look motivated or fired up or like they are about to conquer anything. They look like someone paying a bill. They nod at the person on the next bench, put their headphones in, and begin. Rain, deadline, argument, bad night, birthday, holiday, it does not seem to matter. They are there. Most people watch this and land on one of two explanations. Either that person has some rare supply of willpower the rest of us were not issued, or they are obsessive, hiding from something, a little unwell. Both readings are lazy, and both are wrong in the same way. They assume the daily gym habit is about the gym. It almost never is. So today, we are going to take that person apart carefully, not to admire them and not to diagnose them, but to understand what is actually running underneath a life organized around one non-negotiable hour. Because there are two completely different people who look identical from the outside, and telling them apart changes everything. Start with the thing everyone gets wrong first, willpower. The popular model says the daily person grits their teeth harder than you do, that every morning they fight the same battle you lose and win it. But when researchers study people with unusually high self-control, they consistently find the opposite. Those people report spending less time resisting temptation, not more. They are not stronger in the moment of conflict. They have fewer moments of conflict. In 2005, Angela Duckworth and Martin Seligman published a finding that became one of the most cited results in the psychology of achievement. Among adolescents, self-discipline predicted academic performance more powerfully than IQ did. What made it interesting was not the headline, it was the method. They were not measuring heroic acts of resistance. They were measuring a steady orientation across ordinary domains, day after day. A pattern, not a performance. That is the first mechanism. The person at the gym every day is not winning an argument with themselves each morning. They are not having the argument. The decision was made once at some point in the past, and it has not been reopened since. Everyone else wakes up and asks whether today is a training day. For them, that question has been retired. Psychologists studying habit find that a large share of daily behavior is not chosen fresh but triggered by context, running through older, more automatic circuitry than deliberate choice does. Same alarm, same bag by the door, same route, same locker. Now, the second mechanism, and this one is more intimate. Ask the daily person why they go, and you will get an answer about health or strength or looking a certain way. That answer is usually true and almost never complete. Watch what happens on the day they cannot go. The body is fine. What degrades is the mood, the patience, the sleep, the ability to sit with a difficult email without the shoulders climbing.
For a large share of these people, the hour is not primarily about the body at all. It is regulation. Rhythmic, self-paced physical effort is one of the most reliable ways a human nervous system moves from a state of alertness to a state of settling. During that kind of repetitive movement, the brain's default mode network becomes available in a particular way, and thinking loosens. Problems that would not resolve at a desk resolve somewhere around the third set. There is a third layer underneath both, identity. At some point, the behavior stops being something they do and becomes something they are. And once that switch flips, missing a day is no longer a scheduling matter. It is a small contradiction of self. Human beings will tolerate an enormous amount of inconvenience to avoid contradicting who they believe they are. That is the real engine of the streak, not discipline, but the quiet unwillingness to become, even for one day, a different person than the one they have decided to be. Which brings us to the distinction that matters more than anything else in this whole psychology, because there are two versions of this person, and from the outside they are indistinguishable. The first version built the habit out of values. They know what they are protecting and why. Training is an expression of who they are rather than a suppression of who they might otherwise become. Self-determination research calls this autonomous regulation, acting from an integrated sense of your own priorities, and it consistently predicts better well-being and more sustainable performance than any pressured alternative. For this person, the daily hour is not a cage, it is a container. Often the history looks like this, a childhood or a stretch of adult life where very little could be relied upon, where other people were inconsistent, circumstances shifted without warning, and the ground moved. In that situation, a person discovers the one territory that answers to them, their room, their routine, their body. Predictability becomes a safety signal, and the structure they build is not chosen for its usefulness. It is built because it is the only place chaos can be held back. That person grows up, the original threat recedes, the structure does not. It deepens, it refines, it becomes identity, and it looks from a distance exactly like the values-driven version. Same hour, same bag, same consistency. The difference is entirely on the inside, and it shows up in one place, the missed day. The values-driven person misses a session and feels a small friction. The fear-driven person misses a session and feels something much closer to danger, not disappointment, a rising unease that has nothing to do with muscle, a sense of something coming loose.
The subtler cost is relational. A life organized around a non-negotiable hour has less give in it. Spontaneity requires slack, and someone whose whole architecture is built on control finds unplanned closeness genuinely difficult. People around them often describe not coldness exactly, but a certain remoteness, an attention already half committed to the next scheduled thing. Invitations get measured against the hour. Trips get planned around whether there will be somewhere to train. Slowly, without any single decision, the rest of life starts arranging itself around the one part that refuses to move. And the deepest cost is the one nobody sees, because the system keeps working. The streak produces results. The results confirm the system. The confirmation makes the system harder to question. It becomes a trap made entirely out of success, and the question underneath it, the one about who they are when nothing is under control, stays permanently unasked, because there is always another session tomorrow. So what actually changes this? Not stopping, that would be the wrong instruction and the wrong instinct. The trait is not the problem, the intensity is. The most useful thing a daily person can do is treat one unplanned rest day as an experiment rather than a failure, and pay attention to what shows up in the space. Mild restlessness that passes by evening is information. The habit is a vehicle, and it is taking you somewhere you chose. Rising anxiety that does not settle is also information, and it is not a verdict on your character. It just means the hour has been carrying more than training, and that whatever it has been carrying deserves attention in its own right, rather than only ever being outrun. Here is the thing worth holding on to. Showing up every day is genuinely rare, and it is not a trick. It is the accumulated result of 100 small choices to remove friction and honor a decision made in a calmer moment. That capacity is one of the most valuable things a person can build, and it is transferable to almost anything that matters. But a system is a means, not a destination. Discipline in service of a life you actually want is one of the most powerful forces you will ever have. Discipline as a substitute for that life is the most efficient possible way to spend years without ever quite arriving in them. You are allowed to be proud of the streak. You are also allowed to put it down for a day and find out what is underneath it. Both of those can be true at once. So the question is not whether you show up. You already know that answer. The question is what you would feel tomorrow if you did not.